Good evening. Thank you for joining us on our final episode of Inside Chippewa Hockey. I'm Lindsay Lewis.
And I'm Stephanie Hodges. We will have a recap of the team's last games and a preview of this weekend's games, as well as an overview of the entire season.
This is Inside Chippewa Hockey. The men's D3 team had a weekend sweep last time they played against U of M Flint. Let's take a look at the highlights. In Game 1 of the series, Ryan Tyre brings the puck up, passes it over to Justice Bigelow. Bigelow over to Nick Wink, who scored the first goal of the game.
Wink had 2 straight games with scoring the first goal. That was some great tick-for-tack passing. Tyre sets it up, down to Bigelow. Bigelow gets it right to Wink for the goal.
Ryan Tyre gets the puck up in front of the net to Dalton Sutherland. Sutherland shoots and scores with seconds left of power play for the Chippewas.
You can't even be surprised right there. That's perfect office space for Dalton Sutherland. That's an easy goal to just get through the 5-hole.
Dalton Sutherland passes the puck over to Nate Elgire right in front of the net. Elgire scores and gives the Chippewas a 2-goal lead in the third period.
Prime positioning for Gator, and that's the old adage of why you put your stick on the ice. He caught that pass cleanly before the goalie could even have a chance at it and shot that one right to the corner.
Michael Croft brings the puck around the back of the net late in the game, centers it to Lawrence Rowe, and he scores. Chippewas with a 5-1 win over the Victors.
Again, you look at these goals, and they're all very much the same. It's that low slot prime real estate, perfect passes, and a shot immediately.
In Game 2 of the series, Jason Pischke gets the puck over to Nick Wink, who, oh baby, sees a scoring opportunity on a wide open net.
Pischke and Wink have just been on another level with chemistry-wise. Look at this flex of the stick from Nick Wink. He's a natural scorer lately as he gets that one through, right off the glove.
Brendan Martin brings the puck over into the Victors' territory, takes a backhanded shot on net. Joey Simoncelli follows it up and tips it in.
You got to be so impressed with how Brendan Martin's been playing such a forward position, but Simoncelli finds that puck loose on the doorstep and just sends that one right over the glove. Great goal for him.
Justice Bigelow brings the puck into the zone. Ryan Tyre finds it loose right in front of the net and scores. Chippewas with a 5-1 lead in the second period.
Take advantage of the rebounds when you can find them, and that's exactly what Ryan Tyre did. He found one find its way off of the stick, picked it up, shot it again after another rebound, and got its way through.
Nate Elgire circles around the Victors defender and comes out with an absolutely beautiful goal.
I don't even have words for this goal. Gets it through the legs, as you see right there. A perfect one. Finds it in the most narrow spaces and squeaks it through. No celly needed from him.
Friday was a close game against the Victors, but Saturday was a much different story. Sean, we've seen this a lot lately where the Chippewas have come out slow against teams they should dominate. Why do you think this was the case this weekend?
It's hard to figure out. U of M Flint has been a team that historically has not given Central Michigan problems, and especially with the record that they had this season, I really think their best result of the season was a 4-4 tie against the University of Michigan, and that's not saying very much. But for Central Michigan to go into the first period of Friday's game with a 1-1 tie, I was a little shaken up. Now, we all had a good feeling inside of Crystal Fieldhouse that Central Michigan was still going to have a way to pull away with this game, but they did not bring out their best effort. We talked about this all season long with head coach James Cadzo. He can't figure out this anomaly of why this team can't get off to a hot start. The rest of the 40 minutes in the game, they're almost untouchable, but that first 20 minutes, they are very fallible.
So what did the high-scoring game on Saturday tell us?
The high-scoring game on Saturday, it tells us that this Central Michigan team, when they get comfortable, they can dominate. We had a 3-2 loss against Oakland. The very next day, we came up with an 8-2 win. We had a very close game in the first 20 minutes and maybe even in a little bit of the second 20 minutes against Michigan Flint on Friday, and absolutely blew them out of the water on Saturday's game. Now, Central Michigan is a slow-starting team, yes, but when their offense starts to get the ball rolling even a little bit, it's no question that they're one of the best teams in the league in terms of scoring goals and just being able to dominate teams.
On our last show, we each had our pick for who we thought would be the player of the weekend, and we let the fans vote on who they sided with. Fans sided with Sean and Jason Pischke, but after a weekend of play, my pick, Nick Wink, came out on top. Sean, Nick Wink hasn't been a premier scorer for the Chippewas in the past. What makes you think, what has given him that scoring touch lately?
You know, well, it was interesting watching him the last couple of seasons. I know Tyler and I always used to talk about the only way that Nick Wink scores goals is if they're very interesting goals, very exciting goals to watch. But this year, he's really found himself as a normal scorer. He's made his goals less exciting, and that's not a discredit. That means he's scoring a lot more goals, and the higher volume, the higher quantity, it's increasing the quality of him as a goal scorer.
What do you hope to see from this line in the future?
I want to see them keep doing what they're doing. I think this line could very easily overtake the top spot, and that's no discredit to the Selin Gator line up there. This second line, though, they have so much speed, and that's one of the things that I think is so deadly. Having speed is one thing. Having speed and being able to work with it and control a puck while you have it, that's another thing. I want to see more goals from them. I want to see them dominate teams.
The Chippewas will hit the road on Friday to face Saginaw Valley State University, then come home for a second game of the series on Saturday. The Chippewas have played a lot of teams recently that we had no doubt in our mind that we thought that they were going to sweep, but they have struggled a little bit. We're going to see a team like that coming up against Saginaw Valley. What do you think the Chippewas need to do to get on top faster? I'm
just hoping that it's not demons repeating themselves, because last time that Saginaw Valley and Central Michigan played, it was at the Saginaw Bay Ice Arena over in Bay City, and they drew a 3-3 tie when Central was fighting for their playoff lives. The 3-3 tie certainly didn't help. Now, Saginaw Valley is a wild card team. Their record's not very good this year, and they're one of the lesser teams in the MCHC, but they always play a tough game against Central Michigan, both in grittiness and kind of in performance out there. Central Michigan usually can find themselves to a big 6-goal win against this team, but I think we shouldn't see any kind of problem. I don't think we should see a Friday first period like we had against U of M Flint. I think Central should be in good position. This should be a nice, easy sweep going into Davenport next weekend.
How do you think playing teams like Davenport and Saginaw have affected their season, playing them at the end of the season rather than at the beginning?
It's very helpful, I believe, and that's kind of an odd thing to say. I've always been sort of a person who believes in an even toe schedule. You know, you play Grand Valley your first weekend, maybe a few more cupcake teams like a Davenport or a Northwood along the way, and then kind of have your harder teams in the middle and at the end so you get yourself shaped up for the playoffs. Well, Central Michigan's already shown they can compete with those teams that are at the very top. I hate to call it kind of a rest weekend these next 2 weekends, but I think Central Michigan has already proven that they're one of the best teams, and having these games is not going to hurt them at all going into next semester.
A home-and-home next weekend against Davenport will wrap up the semester for the Chippewas. The D3 team has some of the top scorers in the ACHA on their side. What does this mean going into a game against a team like Davenport?
It's dangerous. That's all that I can say. Davenport's one of the worst teams in the MCHC. We've seen teams like Oakland beat them 19-0. Their goals against average is atrocious. Their goals for is nominal at best. Central Michigan going into this game, this is going to be a chance for really a lot of goals. And frankly, that's been a big touch on the season for Central Michigan, starting off with that first weekend against Augustana. And it's been no different. I mean, this is a Central Michigan team that has surpassed the decade mark in goals scored in a game more times than not, it almost feels like. I think Central Michigan against Davenport is just a chance for fans of offense to really get out there and see what the Central Michigan offense can do. You got big goal scorers like Dalton Sullivan heading towards 30. You got Nate Allgaier who's coming up right behind him, and James Gleason. This is a chance for maybe some of the lesser guys to get their chances to get goals on the board.
What would a final sweep of the semester mean for the Chippewas?
Oh my goodness, it would be absolutely huge. Central Michigan played a very tough gauntlet to start off MCHC play. Michigan State, Grand Valley, Oakland, Hope. That's tough. I mean, when you're such a young team as Central has brought on so many new faces to start off this year, and obviously veteran presences like Dalton Sullivan, James Gleason, Gator, and the goaltending core that you have, it's tough. But being able to go against Saginaw Valley, being able to go against Davenport, it kind of sends you guys into the winter break and says, okay, we had one hell of a semester. We can finish it off strong here, get some goals, and really play loose, play our style of hockey, not have to worry about the full preparation. Obviously, they're going to be going the exact same intensity of practice as we could imagine from a CADZO team, but it gives them a chance to really just play their game and do it well.
We're going to go ahead and continue with the Player of the Weekend voting, and I'm going to have to go with Ryan Tyre this week for my vote. He's the 9th leading scorer in the ACHA with 45 points. I just don't think we talk about him nearly enough. I think he's going to stand out against SVSU.
Tyre's definitely a great pick, and I love Tyre as a pick myself. I believe that Nate Allgaier is going to be the one to have the big weekend against Saginaw Valley State. I've been able to see Gator play against the Cardinals a few times. Call what you want, Lindsay. I'm drinking the Gatorade this weekend.
Yeah, okay.
This week, the Chippewa Hockey Network crew is going from behind the net to more in front of the net with the captain, James Gleason, one of the hottest scorers in the ACHA, both as a defensive player and in the entire league. And we've got a new segment for you with Dale's Dark Horse. Nick D'Alessandro going with our very own Jordan Waj as our breakout player this weekend. We're very excited to see who it's going to be. Obviously Nate Allgaier, but it's always fun to speculate who else it could be.
Yeah, we'll see when Ryan Tyler wins, but make sure to vote which one of us you side with and who you think will be this player's player of the weekend. As the semester comes to a close, we have to talk about our D3 2017 Player of the Semester. I think we can all agree that Dalton Sutherland has been lights out for the Chippewas. Dalton is the third leading scorer in the ACHA with 57 points so far on the season. Sean, we can't say enough great things about Sutherland, but how important has he been to the team this season so far?
He's been the lifeblood, honestly. He's the face of this Central Michigan program right now. He plays the game the right way. He's a level-headed player, and his scoring touch has honestly been on a different plane from last year. Dalton Sutherland has always been a phenomenal player. From his freshman year onward, he's been great, but the way that we've seen him improve from sophomore year into this year, it has to be coaching. It has to be the way that these players have came together and bought into this system. Dalton Sutherland is the entire force of this offense. He's leading the pack, but he's not doing it alone. As we've seen Gator, we've seen Gleason, all the big guys that we've talked about, they're contributing their parts, but Sutherland has been the whole offense.
How important was his contribution in the critical wins that CMU has had so far this season?
I think it's been clear and evident that he's had his fingerprints all over all those big wins. That first game at Michigan State that we've ever won at Munn Ice Arena, the game against Hope, and the sweeps that we've had in MCHC play now. Central Michigan is, with Dalton Sutherland, what the team needs to be. And Sutherland has definitely led this team in offense. You're going to see something like that going forward. If Central Michigan can find themselves back at Natty's, they're going to be finding themselves with Sutherland finally getting his goals there.
That'll wrap it up for D3 this semester. Stay tuned as the Chippewas face Saginaw Valley this weekend and Davenport University next weekend. Now we're going to head to break. Stay tuned for a D2 recap and preview next.
If you're like me, when you have some downtime, you like to play video games and watch anime. Though, you may not have anyone to talk to about these two hobbies. If that's the case, check out MHTV's brand new show, Downtime. My friends and I get together, have guests on, and we talk about gaming topics. We also discuss the latest anime being shown this season. So, if you have some downtime, come spend it with us at 12 p.m. and 7 p.m. on Charter Channel 189.
This semester, MHTV presents Nobody Watches Season 3. A show with questionable quality and, more stuff. Nobody Watches Season 3, airing Mondays at 1 and 8 p.m., greeting you with new episodes every other week.
5, 4...
That's good.
Welcome back to Inside Chippewa Hockey. The D2 team took 2 weeks off over the holiday, but they'll be back in action this weekend against Wright State. The Chippewas gained their second win of the season on November 11th when they faced Washtenaw Community College. Here with me at the desk is CHN's DJ Palms. How are you doing, DJ?
Doing good. What's up, Steph? How's your holiday?
It was great. You know, got to spend time with family, have some turkey.
Did you eat too much food?
Oh, always.
I did. I know that.
All right, so how can the boys keep up the momentum after their win over Washtenaw?
Well, it's kind of been hard for them to gain momentum a lot because once they do finally have some momentum, something happens to where one of the parts in their well-greased machine goes down. Jake Tarosky came back off the tail end of a mono stint that the rest of the team had, and so far he's played one period of one game. and hasn't been back in the lineup since Northwestern. And I think you look at just the health issues of stuff. This is a team that's starting to get back healthy, starting to regain some legs and put some butts on the bench to be able to go out and change the shifts around. But I think what's going to be the telltale story going into next semester is going to be, can they stay healthy? Can they sustain their health up and down the lineup and not be able to force to have any man-missed games the rest of the season?
Now, the team hasn't hit the road since the long trek to Michigan Tech last month. How will this away series be different than our last 3 home games?
I don't think it's going to be a whole lot of different. I mean, sometimes, Wright State, yeah, it is pretty far. It's about a 5-6 hour drive from where we're at. But sometimes it's not so much the playing on the road that is going to get to you stamina-wise. It's going to be the travel, because you got to think their Wright State series is going to be both games at home. So if anything, they might be shaky the first game, but once they get into routine and get some rest and then have a morning skate and a practice, I think they'll be good on the Saturday game as well.
In the following weekend, the D2 team will face Michigan State. Do you think these 2 series will be different?
It's going to be a big-time difference from playing Wright State to the very next weekend, coming home to having played Michigan State. Wright State is a team that has 1 win so far this season, and Michigan State is just about at 500. They're 4-6. They have a double-digit goal scorer in Jack Tobiak, who's got 2 goals on the season with 8 assists, and Patrick Hodeman, their forefront for goaltenders, 3-1 on the season. His save percentage is almost at 900, teetering around at 898, somewhere around there. And he's let in only 13 goals on 115 shots through the 4 games that he's played. So it's definitely going to be a different game. It's going to be a change of pace, one offensively, and Michigan State's going to have a better defensive core for CMU to handle.
With a bit of a tougher game against MSU, what players can we expect to see to step up?
I'm thinking the dark horse for the Michigan State weekend is going to be Anton Marinelli, and let me tell you why. Because I love the way this kid absolutely handles the puck. He's got so much patience with it, and he's just a guy that can thread the needle with all kinds of dime passes that lead into goals. It's just amazing to see. Anton Marinelli, no goals yet, 5 assists. I think he's due for a couple goals here in that weekend for Michigan State. Anton Marinelli, for sure.
And speaking of players, just like for D3, we'll be asking you to vote for Player of the Week. And my pick is Nolan LaFlave. He's had a really strong start to the season, and he helped lead the team to victory in the big win against Washtenaw. He had a goal and an assist. What do you think, TJ?
Well, right now I'm thinking it's still going to be Marinelli. that was my pick, and I'm going to go ahead and stick with it. I know this is a different segment, but I'm not going to change the player idea that I have. I just love the way he handles the puck. I love the way he skates. And not to mention, Coach Brian Knopp's given him a lot more time on the power play because of the way he's been able to handle the puck. So if CMU can get their special teams down there with the man advantage, I think you're going to see Marinelli definitely light up the lamp a couple times.
All right, DJ, Marinelli's a good pick. Now, what did the crew choose?
The crew, Chippewa Hockey Network, actually chose Justin McComas, and with good reason. McComas, so far this season, through 8 games, has 4 goals, 2 assists. And it was just funny. I was talking with Coach Brian Knopp last week about where he came from. This was a guy that they pretty much stole from Washtenaw College in a game last year. And Coach Brian Knopp walked over to him and said, "Hey, I like the way you play." And before you know it, McComas transferred and then ends up playing on our squad here at CMU. So not a bad pick for CHN. I love their pick, but I'm still going to be sticking with Marinelli. Sorry, Tyler. My apologies.
Now, looking at the semester as a whole, we have to talk about Kyle Chapman. He's the captain of the team. He has 4 goals and 1 assist so far in the season. Why does Chapman stand out to you, DJ?
Because he just does whatever is asked of him to do. If Coach Knopp says, "Hey, I need you to come up from defense and play center," he's going to go ahead and do it. And if he says, "I need you to move from center over to one of the wings because I like your speed," he's going to do that too. And so for me, throughout the entire semester, that has stood out to me the most, is just the teamwork, the competitive attitude, and not to mention just the ability to persevere through the adversity that this team has had to go through the first semester here of the season, and I think a lot of that stems from Kyle Chapman's attitude, and that rolls downhill to the rest of his team.
And as this semester comes to a close, let's reflect on the season thus far. A lot of injuries have hindered the team. What would you say the theme this semester has been?
Well, you hit it on the nail, or hit the nail on the head. It's been injuries for sure. But what's also stuck out to me is defensively, they're not coming out to really good starts. You look at the average times of the first goals scored on Central Michigan from CMU opponents, and they're within a minute and a half. I mean, this team is giving up at least one goal within the first 90 seconds of the game, and I think that is where their struggles have been in the games they lost. Is you can't win a game in the first period, but you can certainly lose one. And they've been losing games in the first period because teams have been able to score on them very quickly within the first 2 minutes of the period started.
Now, you mentioned Kyle Chapman stepping up, leading the team to victory. Who else do you see next semester rising to the occasion?
I think it's going to be Jake Turowski. You look at Jake Turowski and what he's been able to do with the first 5 games. For a while, he had half of CMU's offense for the first 5 games. I mean, he had 3 of their 6 goals through the first 5 games. So I could totally love to see Jake Turowski. Maybe you put him on that forward line with Marinelli and possibly with Chapman on that right wing, or if you move Turowski to center, which is normally his spot, you could put Chapman, McComas. Just the possibilities are endless. But I think the breakthrough player next semester is going to be Jake Turowski, just because he's patient with the puck and guy's a very good and agile skater, makes good decisions.
Looking forward to next semester. Thank you, DJ. Stay tuned. After the break, Lindsay will be back at the desk with Sean to talk about the women's team.
My name is Megan Saluski, and you are watching MHTV.
Something catch your eye? Tonight's gonna be perfect. I can feel it. Nothing could go wrong.
There's my birthday girl. Did you really expect things to work out?
I just wanted one good night.
Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care of people for goodness sake. There's a plan for every budget, so don't accept defeat. Now you can get covered and still buy me treats.
You take care of your pets. Now it's their turn to take care of you. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn about your health insurance options.
Hip-hop has impacted my life in a way where I can express myself to others, tell my stories, and tell their stories.
It's a culture. We are the culture. Everybody wants to be like us.
It's therapy for me. Taught me how to grow.
Showed me who I was to myself, basically.
Gave a voice to the voiceless.
It's allowed me to be exactly who I want to be.
Just made me want to go harder in life.
The DNA to like our musical history. It shapes everything that I do, and it continues to grow with me. It's everything I am.
Women's hockey won't return to competitive play until next semester, but with exhibitions, the team has continued preparing for a nonstop stretch of divisional action. Welcome back to Inside Chippewa Hockey. Last time the ladies hit the ice, it was down in scrimmage action against the University of Michigan Flint. Sean, these games were originally scheduled to be league games, but as Flint's teams dropped, so did the games. This didn't stop the Chippewas from playing Flint in 2 scrimmages as they came away with 8-1 and 6-3 victories. What do these moral victories mean for CMU?
It's great. You know, Central Michigan, they've played 6 games this season, just coming up with the 1 win. But when you can get any kind of win, it builds your camaraderie. It gets your team more together, and it builds that chemistry, especially having 14 goals on the weekend. And that's huge for the team. Obviously, the games won't count in the standings and won't count in the record, but they're going to count in their hearts, and going forward, they're especially going to need those kind of things. They have a tough Northern Michigan series when they come back from semester, and they play some of the best teams in the country heading into next semester. Anything that they can have to build on is going to be massive for this team.
A 6-game first semester saw CMU upset a D1 team, go toe-to-toe with the #1 team in the country at D2. How do you view the Chippewas after a 1-5 start?
They're so much better than this record implies, and I think we're really going to see that going into next semester. If they can pick up some ladies, of course, as well, that's going to help get them to a 4th line, but the Central Michigan team has had tough stretches. They almost were able to come away with a win against that Adrian team. They very well could have at least split with that Loyola team, and obviously a rough stretch on the Sunday game against Aquinas downed them as they lost 9-0. But I think you really see that this Central Michigan team is going to be able to compete next semester. And I don't think that there's any reason to believe that this team can't compete in the CCWHA going into January and February.
CMU finishes the semester with 12 goals, 9 of those coming from 1 player. Sean, Jessica Killingbeck has been the engine of the Chippewas offense all season long. She's clearly the player of the semester. What impact does she have besides her scoring touch?
She's a leader, on and off the ice. You see it with her play. She's such a natural out there. Anastasia Hartman, when she played up on that top line, was able to come up with her first goal because of Jessica Killingbeck. And Mac Barnett was a freshman. She had 3 goals in her first game ever in her collegiate career. Jessica Killingbeck had 2 goals in that game as well. She makes all the players around her on the ice better, and she instills so much confidence in a team when they need it the most, especially as games go on into the 50th and 60th minutes.
Do you think her momentum will continue going forward?
I don't think there's any reason that it shouldn't. She's played against Division I teams in Aquinas. She's played against the #1 team in the country in Adrian. The teams that they're going against forward are very tough. Obviously, Northern Michigan was a top 6 team this whole season so far, and a lot of the teams that they will be facing off against are conference foes. But I think Jessica Killingbeck is going to keep doing what she's been doing, and we should see more goals from her.
2018 sees the Chippewas in action every weekend against CCWHA foes, starting up at Marquette against Northern Michigan. What do you anticipate heading into the main stretch of their season?
I think consistency is going to be a big key for Central Michigan. They've had a very rough stretch with scheduling their games. They had the first series at the beginning of October, and then no action that was competitive until the beginning of November. That month off can be good or it can be bad, but when you're such a young team, you want to have those games. After that Adrian series, it was a couple weeks and they finally played Loyola. But since Loyola, they're not going to have competitive play until that Northern Michigan series. Now, obviously, scrimmages against U of M Flint, and on December 9th, they'll have the series against the Finlandia University NCAA D3 alumni team. But I think being able to have a string of consistency, games one after another, is going to be so crucial for them. How do you get better as a team? How do you get your chemistry going? It's about competition. It's about being pushed. Baptism by fire is a term I love to use, and I think really being thrown to the gauntlet and having to go for it with all those teams that you're going to be playing back-to-back, it's going to grow you as a team. You don't have to string together consistent victories every single game, but you have to get victories here and there, and I think that's what we're going to see from Central Michigan.
Can they still compete for a playoff position even though they had a slow start?
No doubt. Absolutely. And maybe that seems egregious to say when they're 1-5 and they've only played 6 games in their first semester, but you got to figure they're going against Adrian, the #1 team in the country and the #1 team in the West, which is the thing that matters the most. They're playing a home-and-home with them. NMU was #4. That's Northern Michigan. They have a road series against them and then a home series against them. You get a split in any of those series, your stock goes from here to here. You immediately find yourself in a playoff position. Just play well next semester and Central Michigan can compete in the CCWHA. It's wide open.
We're excited to see just what the Chippewas can do in 2018. Thank you, Sean. And thank you, fans, for joining us this semester on Inside Chippewa Hockey. There's so much more excitement to come right out of the gate for our next show with plenty of Chippewa hockey action ahead. Have a wonderful winter break and keep up with the Chippewas on our website, ChippewaHockeyNetwork.com. We'll see you next year. Fire up, Chips.
Thank you.